And of course, we are going to talk more about that. So, to find out more about the current condition at the disaster site now, we are now connected to our very own reporter, Arya Siddhartha, and cameraman Andres Saputra in Pasaman, West Sumatra. Aubrey.
Yeah, hi Arya, Albert speaking here. So after your long journey from
Hello, Aubrey.
Jakarta and seeing the situation firsthand, what can you tell us about the earthquake aftermath?
Right, so as you can see, I'm currently at the West Pasaman Regency's office where many of the refugees are currently being held, where they're currently sheltering in. So as you can see behind me, there are tents, and behind the camera there are also even more tents where the refugees are sheltering in. So what we need to understand is that the areas that are most affected by Friday's earthquake is the village of Kajai in West Pasaman Regency, around 30 minutes where I'm from right now, and also Malampa in Pasaman. So outside of those areas, for example, like in the central of the West Pasaman Regency, where I'm currently located in right now, the damage is very minimal, if none at all. But we went through to the villages that are most affected earlier today, and things seem to have been calmed down just a little. We saw villagers who are just going about their day, eating and just resting from their obviously very stressful events that have been happening, which, as you've mentioned, the latest aftershock was the one that happened earlier today, which measured around 5 on the Richter scale. But it would appear that that aftershock didn't really result in any further damage to the structures. Going through the roads heading into the villages, we saw some structural damage in the houses along those roads. So the structural damages are varied. So some we'd see cracks in the walls of the houses, and some would have entire holes or even the entire roofs being brought down as a result of the quakes. The worst of the damages happened in houses that are completely raised to the ground. For example, such as a mosque that was in Kajai that was completely raised to the ground. It was absolutely obliterated. It actually resulted in one death from what we saw. Further, we have 10 confirmed deaths as a result of the quake. Around 70 people experienced mild injuries, and a further 5 have been admitted to the hospital for heavy injuries. 4 of those deaths happened here in West Pasaman. Meanwhile, in the neighboring regency of Pasaman, certain rescue operations are still underway to find 4 people who are currently missing due to a landslide caused by the earthquake. Currently, where I'm at right now, around 2,800 people have sought refuge here in the West Pasaman Regency's office complex. But while some have decided to go here to seek refuge, some of the earthquake victims chose to stay in the villages, such as in the villages of Kajai that we visited earlier. And they chose to stay because they have fear of looting. They were afraid that their possessions would be able to be looted if they did not stay in place. Thankfully for those villagers, the electricity that was cut off temporarily has been restored since yesterday. We saw local electricity power PLN officers in the place. Furthermore, in terms of the aid that have been provided to the people, we saw other city governments, such as the government of Bukit Tinggi, along with its mayor, actually has arrived here to provide aid. Of course, others include state-owned enterprises, national police, and the army, the Indonesian Red Cross, as well as several major political parties who have provided food, supplies, places for public kitchens, and most importantly, materials for tents to create temporary shelter. The Ministry of Social Affairs have also provided trauma healing for the children who are affected by the earthquakes. When we asked the local villagers what they require more currently, it appears that while food and water are sufficient, they still require more materials for tents for their temporary shelters. Back to the studio.
Thank you so much for your report, Aria and Andre. Good luck with your assignment at the site and please stay safe.
Yes, and we are sending our prayers as well in hope that the condition can recover pretty soon and no aftershocks or floods will occur in the future, obviously.